Okay. Week 3 test taking skills, page 1. We're going to start with question 1. Marco drew 2 lines to make even letters on a poster. The lines are different lengths, but are always 3 inches apart and never intersect. So when we're talking about lines and they use the term intersect, that means that they never touch. So the 2 lines never ever touch. And it says they always stay 3 inches apart. What term can be used to name what Marco drew? So they're telling us he's making a poster. And to help him make that poster, he wants to make sure that his letters are straight. They're not crooked or wavy. So he draws some lines to help himself out. Something like that. And it tells us they're not the same length. So one of them is shorter, one of them's longer. But they're always 3 inches apart. And they never ever cross or touch. And they ask us, what kind of term can we use to describe these lines that he drew? So let's take a look at the answer choices. Yes, Heidi.
Are you gonna ask to them?
Yeah, we're gonna work on them together. Perpendicular lines. Who can tell me what are perpendicular lines? What do those look like? Jaylene?
Okay.
Perfect. Perpendicular lines, they cross and they make like a capital letter T. Jaylene, do these lines here, the ones that he drew, do they look like a T?
No.
No. Perpendicular lines have to touch. And they told us these lines never do. B. Parallel lines. What are parallel lines? Heidi?
Lines that
Okay. So I like the way that you described that. Lines that go on side by side forever. Heidi, parallel lines, do they ever like crash into each other or run into each other? No, never. And if I ever forget what parallel lines look like, look carefully at that word. There's even an example hiding in there. We have 2 L's right next to each other, but the 2 L's aren't leaning on each other. They're not crashing into each other or crossing. Heidi, would these lines here be a good example of parallel lines? Why not? They don't have to. Parallel lines can go up and down. They can go side to side. They can go diagonally. But the important thing is that they can't ever touch. No matter how long you make the lines, they can't ever touch. But they don't have to be straight up and down or side to side or even diagonal. So what do you think? Could these be parallel lines?
yeah.
Yeah, these could, because even though they're sideways, they don't touch, right? And even if I kept drawing them forever and ever till I was an old man with a big long beard, they're never gonna touch, are they? No. Even if you keep drawing them forever and ever, they won't touch. So parallel lines might actually describe these pretty well.
Yep.
What about C, congruent lines? I want you to just do me a favor. Raise your hand if you've ever heard that in math before, the word congruent. Okay, I see some hands. That's good. Okay, congruent. Congruent is a word they like to use for math, but congruent means 2 things. Always two things. Kylie, do you remember what congruent means? What does it mean if you say something is congruent? That's okay. It might have been a while. Congruent means two things, okay? And I'm going to write them down here. It means the same size and the same shape. So if I say two things are congruent, I mean that the size is the same and the shape is the same. So things that could be congruent might be like two circles, so long as they're the same size. But something like a circle and a square can't be congruent because those are different shapes. Or if I draw one big circle and one little circle, they can't be congruent because even though they're the same shape, they're not the same size. Congruent has to be both. Same size, same shape. So, Kylie, what do you think? Are these lines a good example, something that's congruent? Okay, why do you think not? Make sure you unmute your mic. Your microphone's still off, Kylie. That's okay. Okay, and why do you say no? They're not the same size. They're the same shape. They're both laying down sideways, but because they're not the same size, one is longer than the other, they can't be congruent. Okay, answer choice D says acute lines. We've been working with angles this week. What does acute mean? What does it mean if we say an angle is acute? That's the what kind of angle? Small, the medium, or the big angle? Kaylee? A small. Do I have a small angle here, Kaylee? Is that what a small angle looks like? No, the lines aren't even touching. If the lines aren't touching, they can't make an angle. So it has to be parallel. And how do you know? I'm glad you mentioned that. So parallel lines, don't think they have to be facing a certain way. There's only one thing that parallel lines have to do. They have to make sure that they never ever touch. As long as they're doing that, they're parallel. No matter what side they're facing toward, no matter if they're the same size. They just can't ever touch. Okay. Move on to the next one. Question 2. Which of the following terms best describes angle PQR? So here's our angle here, PQR. And this is where a sticky note or a piece of paper will come in very handy. I'm going to take the vertex, the corner of my sticky note. I'm going to put it into the vertex of the angle. And remember, it always goes inside of the angle, never on the outside. All right, I'm going to see if my sticky note fits. And I mean, it kind of fits, but then I have this big open space here. What kind of angle is it where one of the sides fits fine and the other side is sticking out? Kylie, what kind of angle is that when one of the sides is sticking out? Perfect. Obtuse. So this is an obtuse angle. Let's look at my answer choices. F, acute angle. Said earlier, those are the small angles. This is definitely not a small angle. G, straight angle. Remember, straight angles look like a straight line. This does not look like a straight line. H, a right angle. Remember, those are the ones where your sticky note has to fit perfectly. Perfectly in that corner. And this one did not fit perfectly. So my answer would be J. It's an obtuse angle. All right. Question 3. Figure 7 is divided into 7 sections. Oh, sorry, a figure. Figure 7. A figure is divided into 7 sections as shown below. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which 2 sections, so we're looking for 2 of them, are right triangles? Okay, so they want us to find right triangles here. Now, if I look carefully at these shapes, these figures that they have, some of them aren't even triangles. Who can tell me which figures are the ones that are actually triangles? Bella, make sure we put the phone away, make sure we're focused up here. What are some of these figures here that I can get rid of that aren't even triangles? Jaylene, what are some of the figures here that aren't even triangles?
Six.
Okay, 6. 6 is not a triangle. A triangle can't have 4 sides, it should only have 3. Who can tell me another one of my figures here that is not a triangle? Bailey, what's another one that is not a triangle? 2. 2 is not a triangle. I can get rid of that as well. Okay, there's still some more I see that aren't triangles. Violet? 4 is another one that's not a triangle. Do we see any more that are not triangles? Makai? 5. There's only 3 triangles in this entire thing. So what I'm going to do is I know that 2, 4, 5, and 6 are not even triangles. I'm going to get rid of any answer choice that says 2, 4, 5, or 6. Answer choice A says sections 2 and 4. Definitely not. B says sections 4 and 5. Nope. Those either. C says sections 4 and 6. Nope. Look at that. I didn't even have to measure anything. There's only one answer choice it could be. Sections 3 and 7. 3 is a triangle, and so is 7. So that has to be my answer. Now, just for practice, since they're asking for right triangles, if I go to those sections 3 and 7, I take my sticky note, I match my vertexes, look at that. My sticky note fits perfectly to that vertex of my triangle. Means this is a right triangle. My sticky note was able to fit just right. Number 7, same thing. Put my sticky note in the vertex of that triangle. It fits just right, perfectly. I've got another right triangle. Now this is why I tell people to use sticky notes, okay? To actually go and check. Because sometimes people will look at triangle number 1 and they'll go, oh yeah, that looks like a right angle because it's it looks like a right angle to me. But what happens if I go and I check it? It kind of looks okay, but when I go and check it, my sticky note doesn't fit perfectly. So even though it might look like a right angle, if you check it, you can be sure and see if it really fits or if it doesn't. Question 4. Which of the following does not? There's always a reason on a math test when they put not in big capital letters. They're trying to get your attention. Does not include any acute angles. So they do not want acute angles. So they give me numbers, different angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to start measuring my angles, seeing if they're acute or obtuse or right angles. And if I find them, I find out that they're acute, I'm going to start crossing out answer choices, just like we did with number 3. Since it's the first number, I'm going to start with angle 1. I'm going to see if it's an acute angle or not. Take the vertex of my sticky note, put it into the vertex of my angle. Right. One of my lines fits perfectly, and the other one is sticking out a little bit. If I stretch out my line, I can see that it's stretching out. So who can tell me what kind of angle do I have here for angle 1, where one side is perfect and the other side sticks out like crazy hair in the morning? Irene?
Obtuse.
Obtuse. So angle 1 is obtuse. They did not want acute angles. So angle 1 is fine. My answer choice should say angle number 1. Do I have an answer choice that doesn't say angle number 1? Okay?
G doesn't have angle 1.
G doesn't have angle 1. They forgot about angle 1. So I'm going to cross out answer choice G because angle 1 is not acute. Okay. Let's look for angle 2. We'll see if that's an acute angle or not. I take the vertex of my sticky note. Match it with the vertex of my angle. One of my lines is perfect, but the other one's covered up. I can't even see it because the sticky note's too big. What kind of angle is it when the angle is too small for my sticky note to fit? Okay?
Yeah.
This is an acute angle. Nakai, do we want acute angles?
No.
No. So any answer choice with angle 2, I'm going to cross out. Does anybody see an answer choice with angle number 2? We already said no to G, but is there another answer choice that says angle 2? Kylie? F. Says angle 2? Can't be it. Okay, I'm getting close. I only have 2 answer choices left. Angle 3. Let's check that one out. Vertex, the corner of my sticky note. Put it in the corner, the vertex of my angle. One side is perfect, one side fits, and the other side is sticking out. What kind of angle is it when one side is perfect, the other side sticks out? Kylie, what kind of angle is it when one side is perfect and the other side sticks out? Okay. Obtuse. Okay. Kylie, is an obtuse angle the same as an acute angle? No. Okay, so I want to have angle 3. Well, H says angle 3 and so does J. Let's check the next angle then. Angle 4. Again, I'm going to match the vertex, the corner of my sticky note, with the vertex of my angle. Okay. One of the lines I can see perfectly, and the other line's covered up by my sticky note. What kind of angle do I have when one side matches perfectly, the other side is covered up? Brianna, what kind of angle would that be? What kind of angle would it be, Brianna? Perfect, an acute angle. But they told me they does not have acute angles. So I can get rid of any answer choice that says angle 4. Can I get rid of another answer choice? Nakai?
We can get rid of answer choice H because it has angle 4.
It has angle 4. Well, I'm down to one answer choice only. So what answer choice has to be right? Kylie? J. Has to be J. One last practice problem that we're going to do together. Number 5. Which statement best describes intersecting lines? Remember. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Which statement best describes intersecting lines? We talked about intersecting lines a little bit before question number 1. Haley, put it away for now. What did we say about intersecting lines? Irene?
They can't touch.
Parallel lines can't touch, but intersecting lines are the ones that
Can't touch.
they do touch. So intersecting lines can cross like a letter T. They can cross like a letter X. They can cross like a letter K. They can cross like anything. The only thing they have to do, like a V or like a letter A, all of those have intersecting lines. It doesn't matter what kind of angle they make, intersecting lines have to touch.
W?
What was your question, Heidi?
What about W?
W would be another one. Anytime you have lines touching, anytime you see that, those are intersecting lines. If they run into each other, they cross, or they cross over each other, that's an intersecting line. That's all that it means. A says that they always form obtuse angles. Well, that isn't true. They can cross and they can form an obtuse angle, or they can form an acute angle. They could form a right angle. They can form any kind of angle they want. So no, not always. They only form right angles. That's not correct either. Perpendicular lines are the ones that only form right angles. Intersecting lines can form whatever kind of line they want. Bella, where do I need your attention? Answer choice C. They cross each other at one point. That's something that they do. Every single one of these intersecting lines has one point where they cross or they touch. D, they never meet or cross each other. We said no, those are the parallel lines. Those are the ones that are next to each other forever and ever and ever, but they never run into each other, they never cross, they never touch or anything like that. The only one that describes intersecting lines is answer choice D. Okay, this paper, these problems that we just did, I don't want you to put them away. You can keep this paper with you while you're working on the test. That way, if you get to a problem and you're trying to remember, oh, what are intersecting lines? You can look right here. Or you try to remember, oh, what are parallel lines? You can look right here. Okay? These papers, the test taking skills, those are there to help you. That's exactly what they are. They're notes for you to look back on during the test. So don't put these away. Keep these next to you while we work on the test.